What's up, guys? Frank Finn, the DeFi Daddy. I want to show you kind of a cool strategy that I'm planning on using for Mai Finance. So for those of you guys who don't know, Mai is like a lending app. And what you can do is you can put in your tokens. They have a couple of different chains you can do. Polygon, Phantom, Avalanche, Solana, Kronos, Moon River. You can put your tokens into here. And then you can borrow against them interest-free. And then what it allows you to do, in essence, is instead of owning one thing, you can borrow against it and own two or three things, right, with the same leverage. So let's just say, like, for example, I'll give you an example of what I'm planning on doing, and then maybe this will make more sense. So I'm most likely going to take some Polygon that I have and take maybe like $1,000 or $2,000. I like to try these things on a small scale before I commit to them big. And what I'll do is probably borrow 70% against them. So the risk, by the way, in doing this, when you enter their vault and you do this, is what ends up happening is if the token price falls below a certain threshold, it will auto sell your pool, and so you can potentially lose it. So you got to balance that risk. But I think the market's down right now, that it's actually a perfect time. Like, we're in crypto Armageddon, for those of you guys who aren't paying attention. So I'll probably take $1,000 worth of Polygon and then borrow like 700-ish, like if you're measuring in fiat of that value against it. And then what will happen is you take that into the Mai token, and then I will put that into something else and use it into something that produces cash flow, and probably something a little bit more riskier. I think actually, just looking at what I'm looking, I just did another video on this, but I'll probably go into Mai Finance in this specific pool right here of MVC and BNB. So I'll convert everything into like 50% MVC, BNB, and then I will take that 600%, and I will also like take that and compound it into other tokens. So what that means is, if you start with $1,000 of Matic, then you get $700 worth of Mai. You can use, roughly $700. It'll be a little bit less after you do exchanges and stuff. Put it into something here that produces cash flow, and then you can take that cash flow and invest it into something else. And then your $1,000 originally is doing three things for you instead of one. And then when you reach a certain threshold, which is my plan, I'll actually pay back the loan and then own all three assets free and clear. So I hope that's a decent explanation of what I'm looking to do, but I think it's kind of an advanced strategy, is that if you borrow against it, you can use your cash flow to buy other cash flow. Like I said, the big risk is if you borrow too high of a percentage and your token value goes too low, it'll auto sell your pool and you'll lose it. So that's the risk in doing so. But I think using that to buy like really high yield things, and you still own your like $1,000 worth of Polygon, so you can, this is how like really wealthy people get rich in like real estate and also index funds. Those are two things in the real world, by the way, you can borrow against. So if you own $100,000 worth of real estate, you can easily borrow 70 grand. Same thing with index funds, and you still own the index fund and you still own the real estate. So it's the same idea, is that you take your $1,000 worth of Matic or whatever, I'm just using the sake of easy numbers, and then you borrow that, and then you put it into something else, and that something else produces cash flow, and then you can compound the cash flow, and then if you want to, then you can use that cash flow to actually pay back your loan, and therefore own all three things free and clear. So that's kind of the strategy I'm going with. It's a little bit riskier, a little bit out there, but I think there's less to lose than people realize. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I did a good job explaining it. How it works is when you actually get inside here, you click inside of the vaults, you click on Create Vault, you can see all the different tokens and what you can borrow against it and so forth. I'll probably keep it simple. You can also, by the way, you can do wrapped Bitcoin. That may be an angle I do as well. Like, you can have a Matic version of wrapped Bitcoin, and you still own the Bitcoin while your other stuff is producing. So it's kind of like an advanced thing, but it's like you borrow, you use that investment to produce cash flow. People, as a general rule, by the way, will tell you debt is bad. And 99% of debt in the world is consumer debt, where people just stupidly invest money and buy things they don't need. But there is a special kind, the 1%, where it's cash flow producing debt. Like, I have friends who have $100 million worth of real estate debt, but that debt is like, say they have $1,000 payment and they make $2,000 from it, they're cash flowing positive. So they're never ever planning on paying off that debt because it's producing cash flow for them, and it's like mostly tax-free the way they shelter it. So I'm taking this kind of idea and bringing it a little bit to the crypto space. It's a little bit of an advanced thing, but like I said, if you do this, you can end up owning 3 assets. Instead of just having, like, say, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, you can wrap it, still own the Bitcoin, borrow against the Bitcoin, buy something else, use the cash flow from that to buy something else. Then you can compound those things, and then you can use the combined cash flow of those 3 things to pay back your loan so that you still own the initial thing, and then you end up owning like 2, 3, 4 things instead of 1 with your initial investment. So I'll let you guys know how it goes, but I thought I'd give you a little heads up. Love to hear from you guys in the comments. If you guys are doing some advanced stuff like this, love to hear what you guys are doing for advanced strategies. And that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe.